A compelling image and one of his fans wants to believe is the notion of Michael Jackson hunkering down with his staff in a boardroom, ordering people about expressing his outrage about whatever is going on that day, issuing edicts and pounding his fist on his desk as fine minions scrambled about him. Actually, there's little evidence to suggest that Michael is, at least in the last few years, the calculated strategies his handlers describe as they spin his present situation in the press. In truth, he spends most of his time with his three children, ignoring as much as he can the frightening details of his dilemma. When he was forced to become involved in meetings with lawyers and accountants, he is often in a tense, sullen, and uncooperative mood, says another person who knows him well. Perhaps it is understandable that Michael would just as soon not face his troubles, and maybe he's lucky to be able to avoid most of the details. He has many people in his employ whose job it is to shield him from the reality of litigation, as well as the media coverage of the ongoing story. When he hears of a particularly controversial report, usually secondhand since he does not watch television or read the newspapers, he is appalled by it. Someone then writes a statement expressing such empty emotion and exposing the untruth of the story. New people in his circle act as if we are living in a parallel universe and that everything ever published or said about Michael or his family, including that which they have said and written about each other in the past, occurred in some other reality, not our own. The only history the public is supposed to have with Michael is the one that begins in the morning someone in his inner circle appears on television to proclaim that all is well and that we're wrong minded for believing or even suspecting otherwise. Unfortunately, coddling and indulging Michael serves to reinforce his own self image of being a rich kid in a mean world of money grubbing adults and thus leaving him unable or unwilling to deal with his responsibilities and obligations. When he does give a first hand interview, he seems distracted, disconnected from reality. He expresses himself as if he's never been around adults, as if he had no social skills. He looks troubled, scared, sick to his stomach. He truly is childlike. However, it remains disconcerting to hear family members and reasonable thinking, educated people to describe him that if it's an admirable, even awe-inspiring trait for a man in his mid-40s instead of a troubling, worrisome one. What can be done to help Michael Jackson? Certainly more Certainly more than just approve of him. After his arrest, Marco came forth to say once again that he will never hurt a child, and the public is crazy to think that there's anything strange about his record with children. I have children, I would slit my wrist before hurting the child. Michael told Ed Bradley in a televised 60 Minutes interview. His eyes were wide and heavily lashed, the nose small and sharp. He seemed delicate, frail, almost like a gesture girl, as he sat so prominently in his turquoise blue silk blouse. His hair fell to his shoulders, a jet black swoop that contrasted with his whitish skin. Every now and again, someone would rush to his side, looking alarmed. He said he didn't feel well. He certainly wanted to wrap the interview up. He looked as if he was about to wilt under the pressure. Later, his family members, in support of Michael, confirmed that he loves all children, and as Jermaine put it, he will never harm a child. Actually, the Jackson family's defense of Michael's obsessive love for children does little help does little to help him. Rather, it tends to make him look out of touch with society and with what is considered appropriate behavior in the real world. People in the real world will always outnumber them in their world where It seems anything goes, remarked one legal analyst. They are not going to be able to beat us or change our minds about what makes sense and what looks inappropriate when it comes to kids and adults. They may as well join us in the real world and maybe sit down and have a very strong talk with their son and brother. After the 60 Minutes interview, we looked at each other and said, "Holy Christ, that did not go well, did it?" Says the former spokesman. What happened there? Michael has been around for so many years. No one expects him to shine on camera, but people who know him well know that he does not do that. Instead, he acts as if he's never done an interview in his entire life. He tries, God knows he does, and it's hard for him. I saw it firsthand. He is sick before going on camera for an interview, throwing up, so nervous, so upset, so filled with anxiety. Your heart goes out to him. You wonder how he ever ended up in the public eye and what an ordeal he has been through just to get this far in it. After he's on TV, his people have to do cleanup work to minimize all of the late night talk show criticism and joking and explain that he's fine. It's the public that has the problem. Focus on the message is always my tactic. Forget the messenger. He's innocent of wrongdoing. I'm sure of it. Just stick to that truth and forget how much damage he's done trying to express such innocence on television. Get him help? It's not an option. No one is close enough to him to even presume to suggest it. Some observers who are skeptical of Michael Jackson's innocence speculated that people in his life, his attorneys, publicists, accountants, and even family members, believe in their heart of hearts that the man is guilty as sin. It is thought that such allies of his were merely exhibiting blind loyalty to him by publicity, and so vociferously declaring his innocence. After all, they have jobs to do or family allegations, allegations, allegations to protect. It's thought. However, it's not true. If a person is around Michael Jackson long enough, he begins to believe in him. Michael is such an unconfidential, curious person. The only way to truly fathom him and his role is actually to be in his presence, experience it, and take it all in. While he welcomes the support of his inner circle, he does not appreciate it when they try to explain to him why outsiders are suspicious of him and his behavior. He doesn't want to hear it, his former close friend Yuri, Yuri Geller has explained. I try to tell him, Michael, I know you're innocent, but you have to understand why there are people who did not believe that. You have to stop with the children in people's faces. You have to try to understand the public. It's not just you. You're in the world. He becomes sad, his eyes glazed over. Then he becomes angry. No one can talk to him these days, not really. So I think that people in his life go about the business of defending him and don't bring up anything with him that really matters or addresses the problem. 10 years ago, Elizabeth Taylor and Lisa Marie Presley stepped into Michael Jackson's world and attempted to bring some sense and wisdom to it. They were not paid to do so, they did it out of love. If not for them, who knows how the Jordan Chandler matter will have worked out for Michael. Sadly, Michael no longer has allies such as Elizabeth and Lisa. Elizabeth is too advanced in years and upset by the melodrama in her friend's world as to be recruited for such hard duty. For her part, Lisa simply can't become immersed in Michael's problems again. It was tough on her last time. When she ended it with Michael, she suffered physical problems, a myriad of elements because she had been so anxious for such long about him in order to protect herself. She now keeps her distance. Some have indicated that she is more concerned about her new recording career with Capitol Records than she is about Michael, and wouldn't align herself with him because of her fear of bad public relations. As of Lisa Marie Presley has ever cared about the public thinks about her, rather she is taking care of herself, say her friends, the way she used to take care of Michael. Today, Michael Jackson's best and most reliable support comes from people who are compensated by tremendous amounts of money to shield him from the ugly truth of his role and then explain away his deep sadness and pain by acting as if it didn't exist. It's not as if they have a choice, it's the way he wants it.